training video, we're going to go over how to use Nunchaku or nunchucks for beginners. I've got 3 different pair here because I want to talk about what's different, because you're going to run into different ones and which ones might be best for you. But we'll go into that after we warm up. Put the other ones here out of the way a little bit. I'm going to lower the camera so don't get nauseous. There we go. I just want you to see what I'm doing. You're going to hold your hand in the middle of your nunchaku, palm facing the sky. You're going to crank it forward and make what we call an orbital. So this orbital spin, orbit just means going around. It's going around your hand. You're going to do this as warm up. You're going to do it to the outside of your body. Then you're going to turn your hand in. Hello, Peter. Peter's here from Germany. Good to see you, Peter. Notice that you bring it across your body to the other side. Palm up, palm down, up, down. You shorten the time between them. Before you know it, you're doing your figure 8 spin. You have your first Nunchaku trick. Hello, Doug. Good to see you. Good. Peter's just coming from shooting. Peter, I'll be doing that later this weekend. I have to train some of my guys, so we're going to the range. It's always a fun way to spend a weekend. So going side to side, put it into the other hand, palm up, because you're always going to use both hands evenly, especially with nunchucks. Eventually, you'll have one in each hand if you want to work up to that. Hey, John, it's good to see you. John says he's learned a lot from the tutorial. Thank you, John, for watching that. So the key is palm up, palm down, and I like to do this no matter what. I like to do this even though I've been spinning nunchucks for over 30 years. It never hurts to warm up with the basics, to train your brain, to train your body. Peter's using his Ruger MK2. Excellent. Great choice for self-defense tool. Going side to side. Hey, T, it's good to see you. T's here in town, just down the street from where I am right now. Going side to side in your figure 8. Now, this is a forward striking motion. So later, if you defend yourself, you have to fight with the chucks. It's this forward striking motion that you're going to be using. So doing this as a warm-up and going into your figure 8 is going to give you a lot of repetitions of the basic strikes when it comes to using the nunchucks for self-defense. That's where I'll talk about this first set. Hey, Doug, it's good to see you. Yeah, nice, Doug. Doug's got a big hammer. He's talking about his self-defense tool. Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum. Not a nunchuck, but it's a different type of self-defense tool. So this has a short string. This style, or short chain, it can be a chain or a string. This has a longer chain. The longer chain is for self-defense. It's going to hit a lot harder, and usually the sides of your chuck. These 2 are metal. I don't have any wooden with me right now, but they're either wood or the metal. When they're longer and they have the longer chain or string, that's a self-defense style nunchuck, an old style. When it has this short chain, that is for tricks, for spinning. It's easier to do things that you see that are fancy, but it's not necessarily good for self-defense. This is not a self-defense chuck. This is a self-defense chuck. And this, a recent addition, is a police nunchuck. This is a police chuck. I forget what we called it. It's written here. This is the Orcut police nunchuck. Orcut is the name of a last name of the gentleman who came up with this design of a very traditional weapon. Thank you, Doug. So we're going to go over this when we talk about self-defense strikes, because that nunchuck is very effective. This is also super effective for that. You need a pair of nunchucks. I put a link, the first link in the description is a nunchuck self-defense store, weapons store, martial arts store. All right, so going back to this one, we do this forward figure 8 motion because that's going to lead into a lot of the other tricks. That's going to lead into the strikes. That's going to lead into the basic hand transfers. So I want you to warm up with that, and then I want you to turn your palm up again, and starting in the same position, you're going to pull it back. So we started by pushing forward, orbital spin. Now it's in a reverse, because you also will do a lot of reverse hand things with your nunchucks. So you want to warm up this way as well. As you are learning how to use Nunchaku for the first time, Nunchaku beginner workout is what we're doing. Palm up, pulling back. Doug, thank you so much for that super sticker, that super chat. Really appreciate that. That helps me a lot. Palm up, you're pulling it back in towards you. Palm up, palm down. Make sure your arm goes across the body. When you put that together, now you have this reverse motion. You can also be holding it from here. You can also be doing more of your arm, making a bigger motion. But for the warm up, I like to keep it about wrist level. You have 3 joints, wrist, elbow, shoulder. You're going from the shoulder, that's the biggest strikes because you have the whole arm as a lever. When you're just doing the forearm from the elbow, of course, that's medium and then short. Yeah, Peter says nunchucks are forbidden in Germany. It depends on where you live in the United States. They're either, they've changed the rules and you can have them, or they were banned a long time ago and they never revisited them, which I think is asinine. I would rather get hit by one of these than have somebody come at me with a kitchen knife. And kitchen knives are not banned. I think they might be eventually in some places, but as of right now, they're not banned. Once you do this for about 30 seconds, or on the other hand, palm up. This is a beginner workout for your Nunchaku, or your nunchucks, or numchucks. If you're from the South, it's a little American joke. Palm up, redneck joke. Palm down, and then up and down. Nunchuck is another name, slang, American slang for not very bright person. That guy's a nunchuck. He's out there in the backyard swinging his nunchucks and cracked himself in the skull. What a nunchuck. Doug asked, with the rope or the chain faster? Doug, I think it really has more to do, as you can see, this chain, or this, this has that, this spins. This is an old XMA from Mike Chatteradabut. We called him Mike Chat back in the day. They don't make these anymore. This one is from Combative. It also has that, I don't know what that's called. It's just stuck in there and then it allows it to spin. These are not made that way. They string through the middle, come out. And you can see the wrapper on there. In my experience, it has less to do about chain or string and more to do about the weight of the chuck. So, Doug, to answer your question, I have light wooden nunchucks. They're speed chucks, and they don't spin as fast as the metal ones do. But these, I believe, would spin a lot faster because the stick part is much heavier. So this, even though this is a hard plastic and this is aircraft aluminum, this spins faster, hits harder. This will break bones, where this might, maybe, with a powerful enough strike. This one, there's no way that's gonna break a bone. This is for show and demo and competition. These are not for self-defense. So the speed, in my opinion, has more to do with the weight of the stick and less to do with whether it's string or chain. But I could be wrong. I'm not a mechanical engineer. I'm sure some of you have more experience that way, you would know. All right, so we did, and put that in the chat. If you know the answer to that and why, let me know in the chat why it's faster. Yeah, Doug asked, is it polyurethane? Doug, it's made out of the same material, the old Monadnock PR24. So whatever that is, it's like a hard polyurethane. But I think it's basically the same material. All right, so we did our warm up with our basic spin. Now I want to go through your basic strikes. First one is straight down on the top of his head. He's reaching with a knife, a gun. He's trying to choke or grab, smacking. And by the way, even though this is a demonstration chuck, this is going to hurt when you hit somebody. Polypropylene, thank you. I forgot that name, yeah. So polypropylene, I think, and you could ask Kevin Orcutt. I heard he's still around, still teaching. He's the inventor of that style of chuck. And maybe it's on his website. The Orcutt Police Chuck, OPC maybe, something like that. You can Google it and it might tell you what that material is. But I know you can still find them. I bought these off of a police, what do they call that? Surplus, like a police surplus store. All right, so vertical strikes. Just you come down, you can also come straight up. Imagine smashing that hand up under the chin, up between his legs. So vertical, first strike, second, diagonal. We keep it simple with the chuck. Think about temple, think about the hand again, think about into his ribs, into his thigh, breaking the knee if you have to, both diagonally down and diagonally up. Just like Kali, Arnis, Filipino martial arts, Salat, what's the other big one I'm missing? Oh, Eskrima. Think about fighting with an Eskrima stick. This is basically an Eskrima stick with a joint in the middle. So we have these basic diagonal strikes coming off of either shoulder, and then finally a horizontal strike. Think about the jaw, the temple, his hand again, knocking the knife out of his hand. As the Kali, the FMA guys like to say, defang the snake. I'd rather knock him out than defang the snake. If a snake's coming at me, getting ready to bite me, I don't want to try to break out his teeth. I want to crack him in the skull and break his skull for self-defense. That's just my opinion. I'm not criticizing defanging the snake, because there is something to be said if you can do that. But this target, that's a harder target than this hard target, right? I'd rather crack that snake for self-defense. So when we think about defanging the snake, I always think about why not just turn off the snake's operating system, crack him in the brain, and knock him out if you can. Then you don't have to worry about his fang coming at you. All right, so horizontal strike. So we have vertical, diagonal, horizontal, and then at all levels. Down to the knee, into the vicious dog who's coming after your little dog, you're out for a walk. You happen to have your nunchucks with you for self-defense. Then for demo and show and fancy showing off, because you want to look like Bruce Lee or Naruto or what's his name? Mike Guy. Let me say Mighty Guy. It's Mike Guy or Rock Lee or one of those guys, one of the Ninja Turtles, forget which one, is what I call the Bruce Lee triangle. And I made that up. It's because Bruce Lee does it all the time. It's just a right triangle, defined as having a 90-degree turn right here at the bottom. So 1, 2, 3. But when you learn this simple move, you're practicing diagonal, horizontal, vertical strike over and over again. And it looks cool. It looks like, and if you have two, although these are not even close to being the same weight, you can do two at once. You can do, now you look super fancy, and I would be going faster, but this one hurts. So I'm smacking myself. I love that thing. The more I play with the Orcut police chuck, the more I realize that Nunchaku's version is very effective. And I know that they were designed to do like come along techniques, but it's a very effective striking tool. All right, and since I'm not gonna carry it as a police officer, I'm not gonna worry about the legality there. It's just fun to talk about in these videos. So now, I'm gonna have you go front and back to the upper arm. And this is also something you see in a lot of Bruce Lee movies. He usually does it once or twice, and then he's gonna catch it by pinching down. So as you learn beginner nunchaku, beginner techniques for your nunchaku, you wanna squeeze here, create tension on that chuck. You're pushing with this hand. You're just doing this, like you're ready to shake a hand. Push, 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 release by letting some of the tension off, opening the arm, pop them in the eye. So we come here, up and down, you catch it, squeeze, wham, there's your strike. So you put those together. You start with your high-pitched scream, like Bruce Lee. Then all of a sudden you're doing figure eight. And then you're doing across the body with the Bruce Lee triangle. And then you go upper arm, and you squeeze, 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 bam, and then you pop them. And now you've done almost everything Bruce Lee does in all of his movies, almost everything, with his nunchaku, and you learned it in like 5 or 10 minutes. So super, super simple. Yeah, wata, thank you. Press 1 for Ingosoni. He's giving us the written version of the high-pitched Bruce Lee squeal. I can't do it with my low voice. I try all the time, but you guys have seen the movies. So again, that upper arm, squeeze, 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 pop. And you know, you don't have to squeeze that long. Bam, hit him there. Now the next thing I want to show you is a helicopter spin over your head. And why? Why not? So it doesn't do anything, but it can look cool. And what you can do is you can do a small circle here and a large circle here. And you go in reverse. So I'm going forward, 1, 2, 1, do a couple there. Oh, just whack myself in the head. Thought that might happen. It's been a while since I've done this one. So think about this big orbital. All you're doing is this, but with more of your arm. Later, we can turn that into a throw and a catch. But I'm doing this big circle here, small circle here. So small circle, that's what I was missing. I was trying to do it over my head into this one, and that's harder to control. You do a small circle as an orbital at an angle, and a big circle, small circle, big circle. Doug says his cockatoo, his little bird squeals like Bruce Lee. So you spin at an angle, small circle, big circle, small circle, big circle, small circle. And these are just different ways to do the same thing, but to break it up. Now, wrist rolls, starting close to the chain. And this is gonna depend on the length of your connecting chain or rope. You can see the metal ones are a little bit longer. The polypropylene or whatever that is, plastic ones are shorter. So from here, my hand's fairly close to the chain, and I'm just going to turn my palm sideways, open the hand so that it can continue to spin around, turn the hand under a little so you can catch it, and then finish the turn. Same thing on the way back. There's the hand open, turn, catch, let it drop, and then swing it here. So pull here, it comes up. Oh, gotta get some juice there. Open the hand, turn it, catch it, and it's back in this position. So you start to spin 1, 2, and you can do that in multiple planes. You can do it in front of your body here. You can do it to the side of your body here. We can do transverse plane, whatever, all the different things. Hey, Garen, it's good to see you. Then you start to do your figure 8. Once you get that spin down, do this a few times and then throw it over the wrist. So now you're doing your Bruce Lee spin, your figure 8, and then you just added another cool trick. As a beginner, these are all beginner Nunchaku skills or beginner nunchuck skills. This, different length. So my hand's probably gonna be a little bit closer. I just cranked on my toe. A little bit closer. This is different. That threw me off because this was in there. I was used to using this. And when that happens, when you drop your chucks, which is gonna be over and over and over again, you never really quit unless you stop picking them up. So don't stop picking up your chucks. Drop them again and again and again. The only reason I'm not dropping them as much is because I've done it for so long. So give yourself some grace, get your ego out of the way, allow yourself to drop them so you can learn these techniques. Then you go into your figure 8 and you're going, yeah, Doug asked, are the chucks held tighter when you're defending yourself and striking? 1000%, Doug. And super loose when you're doing your tricks. And your hand will start to walk up and down like a spider, right? We'll walk up and down the chucks as you're spinning. It'll become instinctive after a while as your hands develop proprioception and spatial awareness and the timing and distance pops in. Your hands will start doing things without your brain realizing what it's doing. Or maybe your brain's doing it in your hands. You know what I mean. But you're gonna start to adjust because your skill level will increase. Now I did wanna show the long chain, completely different. When it comes to the wrist roll, I'm not gonna hold it in the same spot because it just sits there in the back of the wrist. I need to figure out, you need to figure out on your chucks, where's the best place to hold it. So if you'll see what I'm really doing is I'm holding some of it in my hand and some forward. Hey, T. T says he loves his chuck. He's got a knot on his head from his chucks. Don't we all? I found a knot that's been there forever the other day. I was trying to figure out what in my life put that big scar up there. I can think of many things. From my brother dropping a spear on the top of my head out of a tree, having to go to the, back when I was a kid, we had to go to the fire station to get all our stitches. Yeah, Garen says that when you drop your chucks and you reach down and you have to pick them up, it's a great mobility tool. So as we get older and we don't like bending down as much, we start to shorten our lives unnecessarily and the quality of life. So it's better to drop them because it forces you to pick them up. And before you know it, you reintroduce the skill that your body needs to live. Yeah, Doug says PR24 training. Let's do some PR24 training. I have to go get those out of the storage unit. I was talking to some of my new law enforcement adjacent friends. Can't say specifically who, but we were all reminiscing about the old PR24. All right, so the point is, if it's a longer chain, I adjust a little bit so that I can continue to do my wrist rolls. And again, to Doug's point, kind of loosen my hand so that it can spin where it needs to spin. All right, next one. Basic Nunchaku skill for beginners. Now, this is Nunchaku for beginners, or Nunchucks for beginners. You're gonna make a, you can stop that sound right now. We're gonna make a clock. And when it's in your right hand, you're gonna go clockwise. That means in the old style clock with the second hand and the minute hand sweeping, as the second hand goes around, that's called clockwise. It goes 12, 1, 2, 3, all the way through back to 12. Counterclockwise would start 12, 11, 10. And I know most of you guys know that, but for some of the young people who might be watching, who are used to a digital watch or clock, this is clockwise. So I'm going clockwise, and I think, William says he still has one of his MP training books from Okinawa on the pressure point strikes with the PR24. Let's talk about pressure points when we do the PR24. Because as myself and my new friends were talking, we remember getting struck in certain pressure points and having that pressure pushed and how effective it is. The question is, you don't see these in the store. These are no longer made. These are like at least 30 years old now. And I don't know how they're still alive with as much as I've used them. It's a shame they don't make them, but there should be a version in there. It would be, they're probably more of a square shaft. That's the style that the young kids like these days. They're almost as nice. I like these, but I haven't seen these for years and years. All right, so, but you can find something that works. Clockwise circle. From the elbow. This would be from the shoulder. You can do this if you're outside. I have a high enough ceiling here. There's your small orbital. It's all the same exact motion. So I'm just doing this. When I get to about 11 o'clock, I'm gonna open my hand. It's gonna come out. It's gonna spin a full time. It's gonna make a full turn. And with my palm facing down, you're gonna catch it. So with your palm facing down, catch it. So you do your clockwise spin. Let it go about 10, catch it about 1, and then keep spinning. So you're spinning, throw it, catch it. And this is all you're doing, and it's hard at first, from my experience. It was hard for me when I let it go here to allow it to do a full spin before I try to catch it. Because you're thinking it's gonna fall, it's gonna hit you, and it will. It'll fall and it'll hit you time to time, but it's not gonna kill you, so let it happen. And then little by little, you'll start to catch it. And you'll catch it more often, and then you'll drop it less than you catch it, and then you'll just drop it every once in a while. Once you've done that with your right hand, put it in the left and go counterclockwise. Now you're letting it go at 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock, catching it somewhere between 10 and 7 or 8. It's not, none of this stuff has to be super precise. Think about big motions. This is all martial arts. Big motions first, refine down to little motions, or gross motor skills, define motor skills. For most martial arts. Angelos Contiatis, maybe, said thanks for the way that I explained it. Thank you, I appreciate that feedback. So it's just because I've been teaching martial arts for most of my adult life, and actually working with you guys on YouTube, I'm out now up to, I've posted over 2,000 videos here. Way more than that. I've erased some, but I've done way more than that. I don't know what it is, 2,300. But that helps me understand how to teach better. So I never thought it would happen. When I started to put all my content and material online, it made me a much better instructor in person. So when I work with you in person, I can get there a lot faster. I can get you there faster because I understand. Like here, I can't touch your arm. I can't touch your shoulder. I can't adjust your hand. I can't show you in person and then put the chuck in your hand and have you do it. So we have to do it this way. But I find that that is a much better way because martial artists don't need to be touching everybody anyway. We always had a rule, you couldn't touch any soft spots, right? That's if you ever sign your kid or your grandkid up for a martial arts school or you're in a school, you have an instructor who doesn't have a touch policy, whether touch the fist, touch the shoulder, you know, you should be never touching anything in this area or in the back to make a correction. And usually when I got to the point where you don't have to touch anything, you can demonstrate, you can give clear instruction, and they can fix it on their own. I don't know why I put that in there, but that's important. Just in case you ever find yourself looking at something that doesn't feel right, trust your gut. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. Instructors should be able to teach from the neck up when it comes to the basics. All right, the only exception are like grappling and jiu-jitsu, right? So you're going in counterclockwise, you let it go here. And again, it's gonna do that full turn, palm down, bam, palms facing away from you, that's where you catch it. You do this a bunch of times until you can catch it. And when you drop it, pick it up. And then finally, Doug asked, is practicing on grass better than concrete? Always 1,000%, especially with your shoes off so that you can ground yourself into the ground. There's a lot of science now that shows that grounding is a real thing. And plus, when you take your shoes off, all the muscles in your feet get to work, and your tendons and your ligaments and your bones. So it's just healthier, especially as we age. Now, I'm gonna go back to the first hand, go clockwise, I'm gonna throw it, I'm gonna catch it, but this time with the left hand and palm up. Once I catch it, I go counterclockwise, throw it, catch it in the other hand. Clockwise, throw and catch, counterclockwise, throw and catch. Yeah, William says grounding is Wing Chun. It's also a Qigong energy exercise principle. Adnan asked if I could use the wooden nunchucks. I would if I had some, but I don't have any in the garage with me. They're in the storage unit. Next time I go, I'm trying to empty out my storage so I can get rid of it and move some of the equipment I have into a new studio I'm working on. So I hope to be able to do that soon and get everything back on the wall so we can use. I can show you the wooden, I can show you all the different styles. But I just don't have an hour I would. So I want you to throw and catch as you work on these Nunchaku skills for beginners. You're gonna do that over and over until you feel comfortable. Now you're gonna put your right foot in front of your left and never cross your feet. That's the only rule. Don't worry about how wide they are. It should be about a natural stance. You're gonna go into your figure eight. When you get to your left side, it's just this is that same clockwise spin we were just doing here, but now I'm doing it over here. Adnan says he always hits his head when he does his nunchucks. I'm gonna show you how to fix that in 1 minute, but first I wanna show you this last part of this drill as you learn your Nunchaku for beginners. When you come over here, there's that same exact spin. You're gonna throw it, catch it in the other hand with your palm facing the sky. That's the exact same thing as this, except you're here. And remember to allow it to do a full spin. So figure eight, throw it. Now switch your feet, so your left foot's forward as you spin, figure eight, left hand, throw it into the right, switch. This is where you'll start to get a good workout because you'll get your heart rate up from switching your feet. You can also do this walking around. You can walk around the backyard, walk in the hallway, walk down the street, walk in the alleyway. And if somebody has a negative opinion about you using your nunchucks, ignore them. It's none of their business. Tontana asked about creating my own katas. I used to create katas all the time for my competitors to go to competition. and we won a lot. So the answer is yes. Especially weapons like this where there aren't a lot of traditional katas. Faithful Sanders, good morning, good to see you. So the answer is yes, you can create your own kata. Pumse is what the Koreans call it. Pattern is like American karate. Form, that's another one. But yeah, make your own katas. Keep them simple. Start simple, and then later you can add in different moves. Sometimes you put acrobatics. We used to have a demo team that would go and do really cool demonstrations at like openings of martial arts movies. They would call us because we were the biggest school in town for years. We would send a big demo team out, and I always had kids who could flip and spin and do, and then Star Wars movies, because we used lightsabers instead of katanas. And I even have, I have lightsaber nunchucks, which of course wouldn't be a thing because you cut your hand off, but it's all movie fantasy stuff anyway. But they look cool. They look cool in demonstration. So the answer is yes. Make your own kata. All right, let's talk about crack in the back of your skull. And let me go all in. First, I'm going to show you with Night Nerd or King Nerd Killer. I missed it. The comment was a little bit too long. He was talking about the way he or she learned how not to hit the back of the head. But I'm going to show you the way that I teach you if we're in person, and you'll never hit your head again unless you want to. Zero Gluten said, bought a pair, possibly had to make a pair. My first ones I made, you can buy them or make them, especially if you make them out of wood. All right, so here is the way not to hit your head as a beginner with your nunchaku or your nunchucks when you're doing the hand transfer. I'm going to show you the reverse transfer first. Now this is very unlikely to hit yourself in the head. So starting in your right hand, you're going to pull the chuck straight up like you were doing a reverse under the chin into the hand, smashing a reverse vertical strike. Then you allow the chain or the string to roll onto the upper arm or your shoulder, which puts the bottom part straight down as it hangs. Notice that your arm is perpendicular to the ground like a tree growing up. Your other hand comes to the front of your body, not the back. A lot of people will try to put it to the back because that's the way your brain is wired. Appalachian Karate Online, good to see you. All is well. It says it's been a long time, hope all is well. Hope all is well with you as well. Front of your body, reach across, take it, let this one go. Now this is a reverse diagonal strike. I'm coming to the other side, and then again, perpendicular to the ground. That's straight up and down, not in, not out. If I'm out, it's gonna smack you in the back. Hey Doug, good to see you. Doug's gotta go. Doug, we'll see you later. If it's out here, you're gonna hit yourself. If it's out here, you're gonna hit yourself. If it's straight up and down, it's gonna hang under your arm. Other hand comes across, grab it, let it go, bring it from side to side. Oh yeah, Appalachian says getting hit by the rain. Know all about the rain. We spent years, and I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, near the foothills of the Appalachians. I am Appalachian people. All my people are from Appalachia. I lived for years right where J.D. Vance was born when he wrote that book. I think that's not when he wrote the book when he was born, but yeah, we get our share. But you know, the difference here is like it'll rain when the sun is shining. So we have something called sun showers, which is amazing. In Dayton, it can be gray for 6 months, and then you get 2 days of sunny skies, and then 6 more months of rain and grossness. I'm not complaining. Yeah, it's wild. It's down here. All right. Yeah, so King Nerd Killer's in Alabama. It's getting ready to rain there. Now we're going to go forward. Now this is where you're going to hit yourself in the head. And I'm not going to demonstrate today by hitting myself. Well, you know what, I will. I often will demonstrate how to hit yourself in the head, intentionally or unintentionally. This is the key. Your upper arm that's going to receive the chuck is the key. Wherever you point this hand, that's where the chuck's going to go. If I point it here, it's going to go out there. But almost every time you hit yourself in the head, it's because in your brain doesn't understand the connection yet. So your brain somehow, and you're not doing it consciously, subconsciously, you're trying to reach back and grab it. And as your hand goes like this, the other hand will accommodate and point it at the same angle, and then watch. You crack yourself. It's a little harder than I thought I was gonna do. You crack yourself right in the back of the head. Let me show you from here. If I point my hand here, it has to go at this angle. If my head's in the way, you're gonna hit yourself in the head every single time. And the reason you're hitting yourself in the head is because you're pointing this hand at your head. So you have to become disciplined. Discipline yourself, young man, young woman. Point your hand to the sky. Don't let it point at your head if you don't want to hit yourself in the head. Point it straight up, and then as this comes through in that diagonal strike, the wrist, the back of your wrist is going to touch your elbow, and then your hand is just going to point straight up to the sky, which is going to pop it into your other hand, which is where you want it. So from here, that's all it is. You're just rolling this to here. Then you will never, the rest of your life, unless you want to, hit yourself in the head again. Now, I'm gonna switch over to the one that will probably break skin if I whack myself in the head. So you can see that it works no matter what. Bring it across the body, point, let it touch, point it to the sky, and it's gonna go to the hand. The key is don't let this move. Don't have it in here, you hit your head, don't have it here. This is what almost everybody does. When I'm working with you in person, and you're a beginner using your nunchaku, you're pointing yourself here, and then I see it, and you even know it's gonna happen because you'll flinch right before you whack yourself. And I'll come over and I'll say, like a tree growing out of the ground, tree's not moving, don't let it go in the wind. And I know, I'm beating this horse to death, but it's that important because a lot of people quit nunchucks because they crack themselves a couple times. Either crack themselves here or they crack themselves here, and then they're like, I don't want to do that again. So don't do it again. Straight up and down, cross the body, cross the body. And you're never gonna, you can even go around your head to around your neck if you know where the other stick is coming from. So if this hand is horizontal, not at an angle, either up or down, and you put your hand, this is the key, don't put it on the same side of your face, put it on the opposite side of your face so it can take that chuck, and then as it comes around, I think I'm flinching a little bit because this thing hurts, and then it goes right into your hand, but it's palm up. Yeah, we always do it at an angle, not thinking about it. Yeah, T's having a good conversation about using a weapon. Now this is for beginners learning how to use a nunchuck for the first time. We have talked a lot about self-defense, and you can use nunchucks for self-defense. People make the mistake all the time because they will see something like this or wood, and they even make these in graphite. Graphite is so light, and it's made light so that these guys, when you see them at these big American karate tournaments, they're throwing them up in the air, they're spinning, they're doing incredible speed, and it's because their chucks are so light. And they could come up full force and whack you in the face, and it probably would hurt, but it wouldn't break any bones, and it wouldn't cut you. The metal ones that I have down there, the big ones, those will break a bone, and those will cut you. They could knock you out. These, the Orcut Police Chuck, made for law enforcement, mostly for come-along techniques. Crank it, ow, that hurts, crank it down. It works. But also, as a striking self-defense tool, these will break bones. These will knock somebody out. So can you use nunchucks for self-defense? Yeah. Are they a trash movie tool? No, not if you know how to use them and you're using the right one. Now, you hold it at the end to create the most leverage, right? You're holding it from here. That creates the most leverage so that you hit the hardest. Will these hit as hard as a straight stick of the same weight without the bend in the middle? I do not believe so. So I think a police baton, the old style straight baton, will always hit harder than a pair of nunchucks. So are there better self-defense tools? Yes. Can you defend yourself with nunchucks? If you have the right ones, yes. From here, hand transfer, same thing. Works the exact same principle as long as you don't point your hand at your head. And I really don't want to hit myself in the head with these because I know this will probably cut the skin a little bit split the skin, compress the flesh as it hits the bone. But the point is, when you hit yourself in the head, it's because of something you're doing. All right, so that's all I have for this Nunchaku workout for beginners, or nunchucks for beginners workout. Thank you so much, Doug, again for that super chat. Thanks everybody for being here. I'll see you guys on the next one. The next one, I had planned on doing the Joe staff today, but I wanted to talk about nunchucks, so I switched. One dude, good to see you. Thank you. John, thanks for being here. Sanchez, thanks for being here. Appalachian Karate Online. Adnan, Gozaru, good to see you. Dave, yeah, Dave says, when it comes to your life, don't worry about the law. There's that saying, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Carried by 6, doesn't matter what the law says. Yeah, William says, like the Joe. I love the Joe. I think the Joe staff, which is about 54 inches for most people, that is going to be so much more effective for self-defense than this, but we were just having fun today. Dave, thank you. Jackie Chan fan, thank you. It's good to see you. Jackie Chan's a master of all weapons. Oh, the other video we're going to do sometime in the next couple days. Yeah, Dave also carries pepper spray. I did a video this week on pepper gel. I think that's a great option. I carry it professionally, part of my duty belt. Andy, oh my, good to see you. Thank you. With the Joe staff, oh, we were going to talk about the belt. I have a heavier belt for self-defense. I want to talk about how effective or ineffective that might be. So that'll be a video we talk about this weekend too. And I'll see you guys on that one. Thank you so much. Yeah, tasers work too, especially